Okay, so the next topic that we will be discuss today is on the transmission of plant diseases. Here, we had already talked about how the plant diseases they are disseminated or they are transmitted from healthy plants, from healthy plants, from infected plants to healthy plants, or from one locality to another through wind, water, air, insects, and infected plant parts. All right, but here actually why we are talking about this transmission of plant diseases, here we will talk about viruses. As plant viruses, they rarely come out of the plant and therefore they cannot be disseminated as such by either wind or water. All right, but however, viruses they are being transmitted from plant to plant in a number of ways, such as vegetative propagation, then mechanically through sap or through seeds in pollen from the infected plant parts, insects, mites, nematodes, dodder, and also through fungal pathogens, fungal microorganisms which will carry the virus. Now let us take a look at the first one. Okay, the first mean by which the plant viruses are transmitted from an infected plant part to a healthy plant part is through vegetative propagation. Now, a large number of plants they are propagated vegetatively by budding. Here you can see in the first this one here, this picture here I'm showing, it is through either budding or grafting of plants or by cuttings or by the use of these plant parts such as tubers. Okay, these are infected plant parts, tubers, then corms, bulbs, or rhizomes. Now, the viruses present in these mother plant from which all these organs are taken, they will be transmitted to the progeny. When these plants are planted in the field, then the progeny will have the virus. Okay, so transmission of viruses by vegetative propagation, it makes a new plant disease, makes the new plant or the progeny become infected by these viruses. So transmission of viruses also occur through natural root grafts of adjacent fruit trees. Now, root graft, how? Because the roots, sometimes when the nearby trees, the roots are often intermingled in the soil, and when they come in contact with each other, the virus from the infected tree will come in contact through the roots with the healthy tree when the roots are intermingled with each other. So this is the transmission of the plant virus through vegetative propagation. So the second one here is mechanical transmission. Now, viruses they can be transmitted merely by contact or slight rubbing of the healthy and the infected plant organs with each other. Suppose these healthy and the infected plants in the field, just a slight rubbing can cause the transmission of the virus from the infected plant to a healthy plant. Or some other agricultural operations such as topping. All right, when you do topping, then pruning, then also weeding, these also can cause transmission of viruses when the plants are wounded. Okay, during these agricultural practices, if the plants are wounded and some of the virus infected sap adhering to the tools you are using, either to the gloves, these gloves when you are using for weeding, or through these tools used in topping as well as pruning of the plants, and or in if you are doing with your hands or clothes, is accidentally transferred to subsequently wounded plants. All right, the virus transmission takes place. Now, virus infected sap is being transferred from plant to plant on the mouth parts of animal. Here I'm showing in this picture, you can see it is showing the infected mouth parts of the insect which feed on the infected plant parts, and when they move among the healthy plants, it will result in the virus transmission from the infected plant parts to the healthy plant. So the next one here is the seed transmission. So seed transmission of viruses is not very common, but only fewer than 1,000 viruses they have been reported to be transmitted through the infected seeds. And this type of transmission is commonly found among the ring spot virus. Here in this figure, the first figure here, it is the symptoms of ring spot virus in soybean plant. Then the second picture here, you can see it is the mosaic virus in watermelon, and in the third figure here you can see the striped mosaic virus in barley. These diseases are actually caused through the infected seeds, the seeds which carry the virus internally. So in most seed transmitted viruses, just remember that the virus is usually carried internally in those infected seeds. So the fourth type of transmission is pollen transmission. Now several host virus combinations in which flowers of healthy plants, they are pollinated with the flowers from the virus infected plants. Here I'm just showing a figure of the infected flowers, okay, infected with virus. When these healthy flowers, they are pollinated with the pollens from the virus infected plant, they will produce, the healthy flowers will produce seeds that carries the virus. And the examples of plant to plant virus transmission through pollen grains, they are found among this disease. The first one here is the stone fruit ring spot virus in squash and in sour cherry, and this one is another disease, that is yellow virus, again in sour cherry. Okay, so these are some of the diseases which cause due to plant to plant virus transmission through pollination. That means the virus is transmitted through the pollen grains. So the next one here, the fifth one, is insect transmission. So the most common and economically most important means of transmission of viruses in the field is by the insect vectors or the insect carriers, which will carry the virus inside their body. And the most important virus vectors such as aphids, here you can see in the first, this one, the first figure, the aphids, then the leaf hoppers here, and many other insects. These insects, they possess piercing and sucking mouth parts, and other important insect vectors, they have chewing mouth parts. So those insects which has piercing and sucking as well as chewing mouth parts, they play an important role in transmission of virus disease from one plant to another plant. Now all the insect vectors, they cannot transmit different viruses indiscriminately. This should be you should keep this in mind, that not all the insect vectors, they can transmit any virus diseases indiscriminately. For example, here I'm showing, this is the curly top viruses of beetroot. Okay, so this disease, this virus disease, is actually transmitted only by this leaf hopper. And the name of this leaf hopper is Euthetic stenulus. Okay, so only this Euthetic stenulus, that is the leaf hopper, it can transmit this disease, the beetroot disease, the curly top virus of beetroot. But other insect, they cannot transmit this disease. So this disease, it cannot be transmitted by any other sucking insects found on beetroot leaves. So here the disease is, the insect is specific for a specific disease. That means viruses, they can survive only in the body of some plants and not in some insects. Okay, so not all insects they can transfer the disease or transmit the virus disease from one plant to another plant. Now, insect vectors taking part in transmission, what did they do? They actually first suck the juice from the infected plant, and now afterwards, when if it in case it visits a healthy plant, this virus it may be transferred and the new plant becomes infected. All right, so when they suck the juice from the plant which carry the virus, so they will carry the virus will enter their body. So when they feed on a healthy plant, in this way they will transfer the virus to a healthy plant. The next one is mite transmission, and here in this case the mites belong to two families. Okay, belong to two families, that is Aerophidae. This one, the mites belong to the family Aerophidae, and this mite it belongs to the family Tetranychidae. So these two families insect mites, they have been found to transmit several plant viruses. As for example, here you can see the mites belong to these two families. They transmit the wheat streak mosaic virus and also peach mosaic virus, and this is the potato virus Y. So these viruses, okay, which cause these three types of diseases, they are transmitted by these mites. Okay, and these mites they possess piercing and sucking mouth parts. So the next type of transmission is nematode transmission. Now about a dozen plant viruses it has been reported to be transmitted by the soil inhabiting ectoparasitic nematodes. Ectoparasitic nematodes are those parasitic nematodes which feed on the external plant parts. Okay, so that is why they are known as ectoparasitic nematodes. These nematode vectors they transmit the virus by feeding on the roots of the infected parts. All right, first they will feed on the roots of the infected plant parts, and then they will move on to the roots of a healthy plant part, and when they feed on that healthy plant roots, they will transmit the virus. The next type of transmission is fungus transmission. Also, a few fungi they have been found to be responsible for transmitting the viruses. Now, as you can see here in this picture, the first picture here, this is the microscopic slide of the fungus Olpidium brassicae. Okay, the name of this fungus is Olpidium brassicae. This fungus it transmits three plant viruses. Okay, the first one, that is the virus which cause necrosis in tobacco. Okay, tobacco necrosis virus. Then lettuce big vein. Here you can see these infected lettuce. They have so many veins. That is the disease. That is why the name of the disease is lettuce big veins. As you can see that the veins they look big. Okay, in the infected lettuce plant. And also this is the another disease, that is tobacco stun viruses. Okay, this disease of tobacco leaf necrosis and also tobacco stun disease. So all these three types of viruses are being transmitted by this fungi Olpidium brassicae. Now the next type of transmission is dodder transmission. Now here the several dodder plants, all right, parasitic plants such as Cuscuta species, they transmit several plant viruses. Okay, they are parasitic plant dodder. These Cuscuta species they can transmit viruses from plant to plant. For example, the disease which is transmitted by these plants are sugar beet curly tub. Okay, sugar beet curly tub disease, which is caused by a virus Now this virus is being transmitted by this dodder plant, that is Cuscuta subinclusa. Okay, this is the picture of the dodder plant, Cuscuta subinclusa species. And this plant is a stem parasite, and it is also commonly known as the hammer bell. And this plant, it serves as a bridge between an infected plant and a healthy plant. So when a healthy plant and an infected plant, they are present or nearby, so this parasitic dodder plant will act as a bridge, will serve as a bridge for the virus. Okay, so the virus from the infected plant can be transmitted with the help through this dodder parasitic plant.